Okay, Colwood. This is the two-slide version because I think most of you know that. You're all aware that Colwood is looking at doing its own sewage treatment plant, either on our own or perhaps in cooperation with other West Side municipalities. We're looking at something that's small footprint. We want to do resource recovery of whatever we can. We want it to be affordable. We want it to be invisible. You're going to drive by and probably not know it's there. And we want something like Sechelt's that fits very nicely into a neighbourhood. This is a drawing that was done that we used as part of our open house. This is the site at the Colwood Park and Ride. It's a site that's owned by the City of Colwood. It's a very useful site for parking. What we're looking at doing perhaps is, digging down underground, putting the wastewater treatment plant underground, a couple of layers of parking back on top of it, some commercial, residential on top of that. So you're going to drive by, look at a lovely building, and then somebody's going to say, "Did you know that was the sewage treatment plant?" That's how it works. This is an aerial view of the site. You can see Old Island Highway, Ocean Boulevard coming in, the park and ride. For those of you who can see that red rectangle on there, that just gives you a sense of scale. When we get to the Sechelt presentation and they talk about what they've done, that's the amount of space that it would take up on that particular site. It's not necessarily that we would do an identical process from Sechelt, but that certainly would be one of many that we would hopefully be looking at. One of the things that we've been doing ever since we've been investigating our own sewage treatment is obviously doing a good job of as much as we can learning from other people. This is not rocket science. This is not new. There are lots of good examples out there. And that's very much one of the things that we took us all over to Sechelt to have a look at what was going on there, and we were very impressed. And that's why we wanted to bring these folks over here so that you too could learn about some of the things that we learned about. Because I think there's lots of good things that we can learn from other people, what went right, sometimes what went wrong. But I hope we can provide you with an interesting agenda this evening. So we've very simple agenda, a bit of welcome and introductions that we're most of the way through. We then have a series of speakers. We have Mayor John Henderson from Sechelt, who's with us tonight. He's mayor. He's also chair of the Sechelt Sewage Facilities Commission. And you guys do have short biographies on each of these folks on the back of the handout sheet. He's also an executive in residence to the University of British Columbia's Sauder School of Business. So good and hearted businessman, right, John? Excellent. Say, Judith. Okay, and with him, Paul Nash, who's been the project manager for the Sechelt wastewater treatment facility. He's an environmental consultant based in Sechelt, and he specialises in wastewater conservation. A little bit later, we're going to be hearing from Richard Harris with MHPM. They are a project management company, done a number of award-winning facilities, and so he's going to be sharing some of the information on some of the kind of how the process worked and how they really kind of help make it sing. After that, we have Don Nash with Urban Systems and Andrew Ambrosi with Maple Reinders talking about the process of actually getting the thing built in Sechelt, and you'll certainly see images of where it's at right now. Following that, we're going to open it up to questions. And so hopefully we get, a good 45 minutes to an hour to have that conversation. So be thinking about your questions as you go through. I am going to ask that you hold questions until the end rather than interrupting, just because it'll keep the flow of the evening going better. We should finish up by 8. If you're all incredibly enthusiastic, we'll let it run a few minutes after that. But I recognise that people do have lives to go home to, so we'll try and finish it up fairly promptly at that time. So with that, I am going to pass it over to the Sechelt team.